At first glance, Scotland and the Caribbean seem like two completely different worlds. One is known for its misty highlands, bagpipes, haggis, and tartan-clad clans, while the other conjures images of tropical beaches, reggae music, and other things, and vibrant festivals. But these two regions share a deep and often surprising historical connection, from migration and trade to culture and names. Let's uncover the fascinating bond between Scotland and the Caribbean, one shaped by triumph, tragedy, and resilience. Now, the connection between Scotland and the Caribbean dates back over 400 years, to the height of British colonial expansion. After the Union of the Crowns in 1603 and the Act of Union in 1707, Scots increasingly sought opportunities in Britain's growing empire. Many of these opportunities brought them to the Caribbean. For some Scots, migration was voluntary, a chance to escape poverty and make a fortune in the sugar trade. For others, it was forced. After the Jacobite rebellions in the 18th century, many Scots were exiled to the colonies as punishment for opposing the British Crown. How dare they?
How dare you? How dare you?
These political prisoners were often sent to the islands like Jamaica and Barbados, where they worked as indentured labourers. One significant event that pushed Scots towards the Caribbean was the failure of the Darien scheme in the late 1600s. This ambitious but disastrous attempt to establish a Scottish colony in Panama bankrupted much of the country. Thousands of Scots, desperate for economic stability, turned to the Caribbean as the land of opportunity. Now, one of the most visible legacies of the Scots in the Caribbean is the names of places and people. Across islands like Jamaica, you'll find towns with unmistakably Scottish names. For instance, Aberdeen, Mandeville, and even Glasgow. These names are a testament to the Scottish settlers who established plantations and trading posts across the islands. Surnames too tell a story. Many Caribbean families today bear names like Campbell, McGregor, and Stewart. These names reflect the Scots who came as plantation owners, overseers, or merchants. However, they also speak to a darker side of this history. Enslaved people, stripped of their own identities, were often given the surnames of their owners. Even beyond names, Scottish influence can be seen in the layout of estates and the agricultural techniques used in the Caribbean, techniques that mirror those used in Scotland's own farming traditions. Beyond history and migration, Scotland and the Caribbean share cultural similarities that might surprise you. Music, for example, is deeply ingrained in both cultures. The rhythms of calypso and the reggae in the Caribbean and the melodies of Scottish bagpipes and fiddle tunes both serve as vehicles for storytelling. They recount struggles, celebrate victories, and keep traditions alive. Take food as another example. Cornmeal porridge, a staple in Jamaican cuisine, has its roots in Scottish culinary traditions. And while it's now seasoned with spices native to the Caribbean, its basic preparation method mirrors that of traditional Scottish porridges. Storytelling also forms a vital part of both cultures. Scottish folklore filled with tales of Selkies and Kelpies, parallel to the Caribbean's rich oral traditions, including Anansi stories that blend African and European influences. Both cases, these tales are passed down through generations, preserving the values and identities of their people. It's important to remember that Scotland's connection to the Caribbean isn't just one of cultural exchange, it's also one of exploitation. Many Scots became wealthy plantation owners profiting from the brutal transatlantic slave trade. Estates in the Caribbean, particularly in Jamaica, were directly tied to Scottish families, with profits from sugar and rum helping to build institutions back home. However, not all the Scots were complicit in the system. Like James Ramsay, a Scottish doctor turned abolitionist, dedicated their lives to ending slavery. Ramsey's medical work in the Caribbean exposed him to the horrific conditions enslaved people endured, and he used his voice to advocate for their freedom. This dual legacy of participation and resistance is a stark reminder of the complexities of history and the need to acknowledge all sides of the story. Today, the bond between Scotland and the Caribbean lives in unexpected ways. Events like Tartan Day in Barbados celebrate Scottish heritage in the Caribbean, while Caribbean carnivals in Scotland bring the vibrant spirit of the islands to Edinburgh and Glasgow. Academics and artists continue to explore this shared history, ensuring it's not forgotten. And for people with Scottish Caribbean ancestry, it's a source of pride and identity. A reminder that our histories are never as isolated as they seem. The connection between Scotland and the Caribbean is a testament that the ways our histories and cultures intertwine. By understanding these connections, we not only learn about the past, but also gain an insight into the world we share today. What other surprising cultural connections should we explore? Let me know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and share this story with others.